Well, hi guys, welcome back to another episode of Eek Acres. It's a Tuesday afternoon. It's about 12:30. 79 degrees out, beautiful day. And Bridget and I are here at a park, a very large park in a very nice farming country town that has a bunch of kids, a lot of young families raising their kids in this town. This is a very good town to raise a family, and it's very safe. There's like zero crime. I never hear of anything ever going on in this town. It's well maintained, it's beautiful. People take care of their properties here, but the thing is, school's out for the summer. Bunch of playgrounds here, ball fields, tennis courts, track, everything, and there's nobody around. You drive through this town and there's nobody outside. Nobody doing anything. Years ago, more than 24 years ago, back when my dad was alive, my dad and I used to come out here and do trout fishing all the time. And back in those days, there'd be kids trout fishing here, this stream. It's right here next to the park. I'll show you. This is a beautiful park. I don't know where the hell the kids are. Beautiful, lazy little trout stream that has very large trout in it. I used to throw my worm in the current and it'd go down and go into some of these deep holes, and that's where I'd pull nice rainbows and browns out of here. And this is, like I said, a farming town. There's fields over there of really high corn. Rural, very nice. But what is up with there are no kids anymore? Every time we come out here, you hardly see any kids. There's the big high school up on the hill up there. It's an old high school and it looks like something out of the movie Back to the Future. I'll zoom in a little bit. That's the high school. All these nice playgrounds, ball fields, dugouts, bleachers. They got goalie nets set up here for soccer. They got swing sets. No kids. I don't know where the kids are today. You don't see kids outside ever playing, riding their bikes like we did growing up as kids. You don't see them outside playing any games. You don't see them doing anything. They're just gone. He's got all those briars stuck in his mane. Well, Bridget and I are walking this entire track. As you can see behind me, it's paved. It goes around the entire perimeter of this huge park that is several acres big. And there's only one young family here with their two daughters and son, and the father is trying to teach the little boy how to ride a bike. He's teaching him balance. Out of this entire town, with it almost 80 degrees out and school's out for summer, there's only 3 kids with their parents here. That's it. Out of the entire population of this town. If that don't tell you that there's something wrong with society, that the internet is just basically changing lives for the worse, I don't know what else says it. Because growing up as a kid, if I had access to a park this huge in the summertime with everything there is to do here, including an ice cream parlor here, clean, beautiful bathrooms, this place should be packed with kids, because it would have been when I was growing up. Not anymore. Well, you guys, it is the next day since I did that clip. I did that yesterday, and I thought I would do a continuation on this video. and talk a little more about the subject. I think about the way that life used to be before the internet, and I'm a firm believer that the traditional way of how people used to live their lives and just the human experience in general, the traditional human experience is gone forever. And I do not believe it's ever coming back. It's one part of history I believe will not repeat itself. I could be wrong, I hope I'm wrong, but I don't think so. And I'm not talking about the little kids that have to be in daycare while their parents work, because it was a weekday, it is a weekday. Today's Wednesday, and I was at that park yesterday on a Tuesday. I get it that small children that need to be looked after would have to be in daycare or with relatives to be watched while the parents work. I understand that, but I'm talking about the older kids that don't need to be supervised. Teenagers, preteens, kids that are old enough to enjoy a park close to home and then return back home and just stay in their neighborhood like we all did growing up. You just don't see anybody anywhere. And I also notice you don't even see retired people getting exercise, walking the track, the ones that still can walk and want to get some cardio in, get some exercise. And when you drive through these small towns that have beautiful porches on their homes, you don't even see older people even sitting on their porch. And you can't tell me that 79-degree weather, they can't handle that and have to be in where there's AC. That's ludicrous. It's just the world we live in today. But the one thing that hasn't changed, and that is the older folks will always strike up a conversation with me. Maybe I just come off as approachable. I don't know. But I've had a lot of older people, older than myself and my age on up, that would talk to me if I'm in line to purchase something, or if I'm at a place looking at things and there's someone right around me, they will talk to me and I will talk to them. But the one thing that I've noticed is all of them are over the age of 40. All of them. A lot of them are in their 50s, 60s, and 70s. But if you're around someone that is below the age of 40, in their 30s or in their 20s, they won't say hi, they won't talk to you at all. This is what I've encountered time and time again every time I'm out somewhere. The younger generations will not talk to older people like myself. And I think the reason for that is because there are so many videos on YouTube where those generations blame my generation and the generations before me for their shortcomings, for the life that they're experiencing and living right now. A lot of them have said so. I've had people on my channel call me a boomer, which tells me they don't even know what a boomer is, because I'm not in the boomer generation. That was my parents. I'm Generation X. I was raised by boomers. And I have no problem with them. I'd rather hang out with a boomer than a 25-year-old any day of the week. And it's because I can relate to the older people. All my life I've always socialized with older people, always hung out with older people. When older people were playing card games and stuff like that, I wanted to play with them. I wanted to get my hand of cards and play right along with them. I wanted to hang out with older people because they were full of knowledge and I learned a lot from them. I didn't really learn anything from my friends growing up, other than you can get into a hell of a lot of trouble if you follow the ways that they were doing. That was about all I learned from them. But it's ironic that my generation, we all have the same exact memories. We all went through the same thing. And I just think, how is that possible? How is it that in that time that all our parents made us go outside and get out of the house? We weren't allowed to be in the house. Everybody remembers that. That must have been a really big thing back in those days for whatever reason. And if you mention drinking from a garden hose, anybody from my generation or before can relate to that because they've all done it. They've all drank from a garden hose. These younger kids today have no idea what the hell we're talking about. They're like, well, didn't you have a sink in the house? It's like, yeah, but we weren't allowed in the house. We played in the streets and we played in traffic. We played ball. We played with all kinds of things that could kill you, that were dangerous. We were surrounded by asbestos and lead and all kinds of toxins. Hell, you played a game of jarts out in the yard, and if you got struck with that, you were impaled. You can't even sell those things online now. They're illegal. We grew up with playgrounds in our area, everyone remembers, that were just full of kids. And there was nothing safe about these playgrounds. There was no safety features. They were steel monkey bars and steel slides that you'd go down that would be like 105 degrees out in the sun. And if you went down with shorts, you'd skid and stop halfway and burn the shit out of your legs because the slide was so hot. Now today they're plastic. Now today they have mulch down or rubber chips all around the areas for kids to play so they don't injure themselves. When we played in playgrounds that were on concrete, if you fell, it meant you went to the emergency room. You knocked your teeth out or you needed stitches, cracked your head open, which I did 4 times as a kid growing up. 4 times I cracked my head open and hemorrhaged from my skull. These kids today don't know what it's like. Riding bikes without elbow and knee pads, no helmet. If you stopped too fast and you slid off your seat and landed on that top bar, it would shove your nuts up into your throat. And nobody knows what pain is until you experience that. We played outside until the street lights came on, and that was our signal to go home. And then the news would come on at 10 o'clock, reminding the parents that they had children, because they'd say it's 10 o'clock. Do you know where your kids are? They don't even do that anymore. Now the parents have kids around them 24/7. They don't have to look for them because the kids never go outside. They're around their parents all the time. The traditional human experiences and the way that life used to be is never coming back. And it's sad that these parks are being so cared for and groomed and mowed and weed whacked and with trash bins and all this provided for what? Nobody even uses them. I think the day is coming to where parks are going to be a thing of the past as well, just like malls. Why is the town going to spend the money to maintain these places if the kids aren't using them and no one else is using them? It's the habits that people have and the lives they live are what causes the things to go away. It's a damn shame. Get out there and use the things that are in your town and in your city that are available to you when no one else will, because there will be like-minded people like yourself that will want to do the same thing. It's a good way to meet people. And if you don't want to meet people and you want to stay shut in, that's your business. Go ahead, have at it. Enjoy your life. But it's a damn shame that these kids today will just stay indoors like the adults do, in the AC, watching TV, being on the internet, playing video games, and foregoing the traditional way of how humans used to live in previous years before the internet. It's just a shame that it caused such a shift in humanity that nobody does the normal stuff anymore. Nobody. You'd be hard-pressed to find anybody that is going out there and still doing the things like we used to do growing up. I don't know why parents don't pass it on to their kids of how we all grew up. We're still alive. We didn't die from the stuff that we did. But today they want to protect these kids and pussyfy them and make it to where they never get injured. They never experience anything that happens to them to teach them a lesson so they can learn and see what the real world is like. They want to protect them in every way possible, have them live in a bubble and have them bubble wrapped if they ever do go outside. I just can't believe the world that we're in now. And it all changed. It all changed during the coming of the internet. And then it changed again during September 11th. And then it changed again during COVID. And I think the last and final change is going to be with this super AI takeover. I think that's going to be the final nail in the coffin. I truly believe that we are at our end and that we are just not able to do anything beyond AI. That's why they're making AI, is so it can do everything for us, because we can't think for ourselves. We can't do anything ourselves. AI is going to basically run the world and take over, and we're going to be left doing nothing. And that'll make life worse, not better, because people will be so engrossed in that. If you thought video games and the internet was an attraction that caused people to stop living, wait until super AI comes out. It sucks that I have cancer and I'm back to urinating blood. The blood clots have subsided, but I'm back to urinating blood for whatever reason. I just did it out of the blue. But there's a part of me that sees it as like a blessing, because I would not want to live to be into my 80s, 90s, or even 100 years old, because when that time comes, I firmly believe that this world would be such a toxic shithole it wouldn't even be worth living. I'm glad I am the age I am, and I'm actually glad I have cancer. I know likely neither of us will see the world that it's going to be down the road, and I'm thankful for that. I'm so thankful I was born and raised when I was, that I got to experience the things I did growing up as a kid, and all the people that can relate to those times, because you know exactly what those times were like. You knew what it was like to use a rotary phone to try to solve the Rubik's Cube, to send a Slinky down the stairs. You knew what it was like to play outside all day long. Maybe your mother hung laundry out on the line. You don't even see people doing that anymore. You knew what it was like to send your first text message back in those days, which was a collect call. And then before the person could accept it on the other end, you just say, meet me at the mall in 5 minutes, and hang up. And then that person would get the message and meet you at the mall. That was our text message in those days. All the things we remember, long, long gone, never coming back. And the experiences these kids today, in my opinion, and this is just my opinion, when they look back on stuff, they're not going to have much to look back on. I feel sorry for them. I actually think their life sucks. I really do. I think it sucks bad. And it's all thanks to the internet and all the things that changed the world that was done by governments. Not the boomers, not us Gen X. You can blame us all you want. It wasn't done by us. It was done by the federal government, and we all had to suffer the same consequences as you younger folks did. So please stop blaming us. It's not our fault. It's not our fault for shit. We were born and we were raised in a better time. And maybe it's a jealousy thing. I think that's what it really is. But there again, that's not our fault that we came into the world when we did. And now we're having to put up with the same society today that all you younger people are having to put up with. It's just that we have the blessing of not having to stick around to see where it's all going. We get to get the hell out of here sooner rather than later. It'll be the rest of you that are going to have to see where shit goes. I feel sorry for you. Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you again in the next one. Bye-bye.